the Daniel Cleland podcast.
Mr. Vismay.
Hello, Dan.
What we were actually wondering if Vismay is your real name, or if it's your first name or last name, or is it some kind of like, you know, when some artists have just a singular name?
It's many questions. First of all, it's Vismay Amrit.
Vismay Amrit.
Yeah, it's two names. And yeah, it was not given to me by my parents. I received this name in India, in one ashram. That was back in the 90s when we were in the ashram of Osho in Pune. And I did what they call the Sanya celebration, where you declare yourself a student of the universe. And then it's a happy celebration, and you receive a new name that you can use or not, but I really like it.
Cool. Vismay Amrit. Good.
Yeah.
So to give everybody, like, first I kind of want to assert, you know, who you are now and you know what you've got going on down there at Florestral. And then I know you've got a really interesting life story, so I want to kind of ask you about your history, what brought you to this point, because you're in a really interesting place and you've had a crazy journey. I know your family and a little bit about that. And then I'd love to talk about your current project, the Sacred Sound Studios, which is really exciting and awesome. Not the least of which because you know, our band Savage Existence, we're hoping to come and record our third album there when you guys are all set up and ready. So that's really cool. It's really like in line with who we are as a jungle metal band. So okay. So you are the founder and director of Florestral in Uvita.
Yeah. So we are close to Dominical. They're in the southern area of Costa Rica. And we are in our Florestral farm, we call it. And we are here already for 8 years. And doing the work with the medicine, doing the work with the sound, work with the people. It's a walk of many, but it was mostly my wife Nicole and me that received the vision and came out here 12 years ago now.
So what's the nature of the project?
Well, the nature of the project is to live in peace and live in freedom and live in harmony, to learn more from the nature. Most of the people living here left their cities, left very conventional life, actually, and coming here to find something else, to find another taste to life, and working a lot with different medicine plants and with music. I think the essence of it in the end is a community, and, like a way to live that we are in harmony with each other, in harmony with nature, and creating this beautiful coexistence.
So it's a fairly large property. It's right on this kind of in the valley of this massive stone embutment. That's it's really impressive to see. You've got waterfalls and everything there. River runs through it.
Yeah, it's the Diamante Valley. It's really kind of Lord of the Ring scenery. And we have the tallest waterfall in Central America, dropping just next door. It's the Diamante waterfall, and that's our river. So we feel really blessed with crazy nature.
And it's about what, 50 hectares or something like that?
Yeah, right now we expanded a bit, so actually a lot. And we are 50 hectares of land, and some of it is really new, and it's a project of reforesting that we're doing, and harvesting an old teak plantation and planting forestry and medicine plants instead.
Good. And right now you've got like, yeah, I think every time I go there, I see maybe more people than the last time. This past time I was there, it looked really busy. You had multiple different building sites that were being made and all kinds of people. I ran into people from various different places around the world for sure, you know. So what kind of like, you know, traffic and movement are you working with there?
Well, you know, we chose a really special model for our community, for our being, and it's a model that we are really equal and we are really encouraged for our motivation. So yeah, there are people here building their houses and choosing to live here, and people come to do projects. And mostly, yeah, whoever comes feels very home, and we are kind of open for that. So it becomes one of the family. Then people come and come back. And right now we have around 30 people, 40 people on the land.
Living there
Some yes,
or coming
well,
and going, like, you know, kind of a
some are
vacation home or.
residents. Yeah, we have around 15 residents, I think, now, and around 15 volunteers that come and stay for a few months and really get immersed in the flow. And then now we started the retreat, and we have 15 more guests. So it's always kind of balanced, so it's always on.
And you've like your construction is really interesting and unique. Looks like you've done a lot of like kind of adobe buildings or stuff that's it's not just, you know, concrete forms or you know, steel beam kind of construction. It's looks like it's been a lot in the way of organic lines and handmade designs and things using kind of sacred geometry and the you know, the natural flow of the land and stuff like that.
Yeah, we started really basic. You know, when we came here, we had very little resources. So we just started like this with, some simple domes and structures. And from there, we took it further. And today we're doing, this way of adobe or ferro cement, as it's called in Brazil. And kind of really loving to sculpture our buildings, our structures with nature. And not to, you know, to plan something on a computer and copy paste it to the earth, but to really stay on a place and wow, this feels right to do this here. So I think just by that focus, we managed to get a lot of just flow, because if you look at a place, almost never you'll choose to do something square, because the land is never really square. There's rocks, there's flow. So once we chose to go with that flow, we arrived in really, really interesting constructional adventures, let's call it.
Yeah.
Never easy, never very cheap, but it's always super rewarding. And to live in a house like this is somewhere that you live your whole life, and every morning you wake up happy because it's all support that. So it pays out big time.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I briefly saw your house. It's like one of the coolest houses I've ever seen. It's it's very, very interesting. So you're very fortunate to live there. You also mentioned that you've got a, you know, as your community grows, you're going to have a school there. You're going to be teaching youngsters. Is that still the plan?
Yeah. Now with the expansion of the land, we're getting really ready to make it a little village with a little village center and a school and a carpentry and an art center. And education is so big, you know, for us. It's so important for kids as for adults, with math as with music. Anything that we learn, anything that opens our mind is this is what we need to bring to the new generation or to our generation. This is the key, I think, to enlighten the people, is education, not control. So we just share what we learn. And we learn all the time. We never stop learning. So yeah, it's a big thing. It's probably the first structure we're going to build. Is first a little nursery for the plants, and then a school. And we have many kids coming from different ages right now, coming with their families and very interested in the place. So we have already the students. That's good.
So do you think that you're playing a role in helping to spawn a new way of being, or to help co-create a new way of being and living on the planet?
Totally, totally. Yeah, we feel that the cities are dying, and you know this old way of life of really getting up, going to work, coming back, watching TV, just fulfilling this little screw in a huge system that doesn't even care. This is done. And I see that people that come to this place and places like this and other places like this around the world, they find again this taste, this motivation, this joy of life. And if we're not here to enjoy this ride, then you know what's worth it. So yeah, we really feel of a big part in this, and we're really happy that after the already 2 places that were born after people came here and saw this and said, my God, this is possible. And they went and made one in Portugal, and there's one in Canada. And, you know, the connecting those unities and the community is, for us, is a huge key for everything.
That's great, man. You know, you're a true pioneer and original thinker. And, you know, I really respect what you guys are doing there. And it's really impressive to see, you know, when going to visit. And you know, I respect anybody who's got the guts to get out and really take action on their vision for, you know, for vision for a new world. You know, you did it the right way. You found a way to get the land, and you went there and you started small and you put your own blood, sweat, and tears into it. And over these past 8 years, it's been building up and building up and building up. And now you're really starting to see these things flourish. And there's really, you know, that's I think, entrepreneurship at its best, right? You're just, you put your own effort into your own vision, and then you eventually start to bring other people along with you. And so you're on a really great trajectory. I'm excited to get to where you're going with the Sacred Sound Studios now, but I'm really curious what got you to Costa Rica in the first place, because I know you were I think born in Israel. You spent time in India. You lived in Brazil for a while. So tell us a little bit about your life journey.
Well, that's a long story, but to just shorten it up and focus on what you asked. Yeah, we left Brazil after a few years of study with our teachers. We had the teachers who were studying about the music, about the ceremonies, about the plants. And at some point we were really sent to Israel, back to Israel. And we were living there for 3 years and brought the medicine back to Israel. And back in the day, it was really a long time ago, it was really pioneering and people didn't know much about it. And we started quite a huge circle in Israel that is to this day still going and expanding, and did the medicine work there for 3 years. And after 3 years, the call arrived to go back to the jungle and to make a community. And in Israel, it is impossible with the conditions that are there with society and all. And the call was really for Costa Rica. And in one ceremony, 3 people received those calls. Me, my wife, Nicole, and another friend received the call, not only to get out there and to do it, but with the name Costa Rica. So yeah, after half a year, I was here for the first scout. And after 2 years, took us to arrange the circle and bring many people here with us, and receive the first funds to start our path. Yeah, that's we chose Costa Rica really from that night, and honestly, I feel it's one of the best choices of my life. I really love this country, love the nature, love the feeling, love the people. I really feel so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else, really. All things considered. So you were working with the Santo Daime tradition, because I noticed you guys, the way you guys do things down there at Florestral is I think unique and proprietary, but also similar to Santo Daime. in a lot of ways in the kind of the design and the way you incorporate music and the ceremonies and things like that. So you whereabouts in Brazil were you living and studying and working with Santo Daime?
Well, we were living outside of Rio de Janeiro, an hour and a half into a kind of forest there. It's not the Amazon, of course, but it's kind of forest. It was not a Santo Daime church. We consider ourselves a branch of a branch. So our teacher, he branched off. He started his path on the Santo Daime, and he branched off. And his name is Carioca. He's an amazing musician.
Oh, what a coincidence!
Really.
Carioca for a guy from outside of Rio.
Yeah. He took the name Carioca. But yeah, a very amazing musician, and his ceremonies were already not exactly Santo Daime. So there was some motives of the Santo Daime, but there was others, mostly really deeper music, music that incorporates more dynamic range, more wave, contrary to the Santo Daime that is mostly is one rhythm throughout the night. Incorporated meditations, and not only bright light, but sometimes candle and sometimes light. So we learned from him, and only after a few years we were exposed to the actual traditional Santo Daime, and we learned a lot from there. And then I went to the Amazon. And then I could say that today we are really branching from this and from that. I've spent some time in Peru as well and learned there with some curanderos. So today we really work with singing together, because we really believe in that power of singing together, and the self-realization and healing that singing brings to each one. Praying together, those simple songs and the songs for the medicine. But we also incorporate the meditations, the receiving, the personal healing. So yeah, basically we are branching of this huge tree of medicine, and I think it's really a must, because every generation must almost redefine their path, redefine their astral to authenticate it.
Do you really incorporate a lot of the kind of religious aspects that Santo Daime brings to the medicine? Like I noticed when I was living in Brazil, working with the Santo Daime for a very brief period of time, I noticed there was uniquely so, compared to like other Peruvian traditions, there was a lot of heavy like kind of imagery of saints, and kind of there was a lot of infusion from Catholicism, I think, because Brazil is a very Catholic country. How much of that migrated into the way you guys are doing things now, and starting with your original maestro, who you started working with outside of Rio there? It's, the way you described it sounded like he kind of started doing his own thing, that was a little bit, more concentrated on music rather than the kind of religious aspect of it. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, it's a beautiful journey, and it's really actually redefined the term religion, or redefined the truth in this, what is called religion for such. When I arrived and our teacher started, we used to do some of the Kura work of the Santo Daime, and they really repeat the name of Jesus, Maria many times, and all the photos everywhere. And I had a huge resistance. Coming from Israel, receiving the normal Israeli education, antichrist kind of, not believing or accepting that being, I had a huge resistance, and it took me quite a little time to understand the concept behind it. And once I understood it, I really saw what stands behind it. And like my teacher from the Amazon, Aurelio, he said to me once, I asked him, okay, so why we sing to Jesus? He said, look, Irineo, the Master Irineo, is the guy that took the medicine from the tribes and brought it and started the Santo Daime. He was Catholic. He knows these three, the Jesus, Maria, and Jose. If he was Krishna, he was singing to other three, It's just clothes, it's just words. And honestly, yeah, it's today before we do ceremonies like this, I tell the people, guys, don't think about the name, think about the meaning. Really, you know, to this day, when I say Jesus, I don't see that guy on the cross. I see the meaning of compassion. I see the meaning of this Lion of Zion. I see what stands behind it. So we are incorporating, basically, we're incorporating it all, whatever is the truth and the perspective of the truth for it. It's almost no, as I know, I'm one of the most anti-religious persons, because I really do not, like, I don't believe in religion. I believe in the thing itself, but I think that's the beautiful of our path, is that it's direct. There's no one. In the religion, there's always a mediator, there's a rabbi, there's a priest, there's someone no, God said like this, and I tell you, God said like this. And this is, what kind of breaks the rules, because no, Jesus talks inside you. If Jesus want to say something, he talks inside you. It's not priest to tell you. And that's for me what makes this really true, really authentic for everyone. And in that way, we meet a lot of people, we serve a lot of people. Some of them, it really brings them rejection, and we walk with that. Some of them really bring them connection, and we walk with that in both the same, to really recognize it from within. The Christ within, the Buddha within, the Muhammad within. That's the only religion that exists for me.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think inclusivity is really important, especially in this work. Just because even with the Shipibo tradition, they still talk a lot about Dios, right? About God, and they sing to spirits and all that kind of stuff. But maybe not so much in the way of like. I don't think I've ever heard Jesus in any of their Icaros, but you hear Dios all the time, right? So each one of these traditions, I think, is generally geared toward a spirituality of some kind, right? So whatever labels on that or whatever, it's interesting because people's spirituality generally is defined by where they grew up, in large part, or at least heavily influenced. So, wherever people are, found themselves being born on the planet, it's not really their fault, right? The approach of just kind of being accepting and not really worrying too much about the definitions, but rather the benefits that come from the practice itself. That's good. So good. Very interesting story, sir. Definitely some similarities with my own path there. I spent Brazil was very transformational for me in my own journey. It was really the first kind of massive detour I ever took from typical kind of blue collar life in Canada. And it was a like a 90-degree right turn detour, and so I ended
the way
up,
she does it.
Yeah. So I love that country, and getting into the medicine down there was also really affirming for me that it was a path I wanted to also continue on. So, yeah. So now here we are. It's 2022. We've both been in Costa Rica for a bunch of years. We're both running these retreat centers. I have now got a heavy metal band from Costa Rica. Kind of come full circle, going back to our roots. My drummer is my drummer from high school. And one of my old buddies, we were next door neighbors in public school and high school, and we grew up together, and we used to play music in his parents' basement in high school, and we'd play at the school auditorium. There was like a couple times we rented out a hall, and kind of there, back in the 90s, where we grew up, metal was really popular. So like there was, you know, like small town, like with like 5 metal bands in it, all playing cover songs and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And, you know, we, as we got older, we went our separate ways. And I went, once I started going to, you know, the detour I just mentioned to Brazil, spent the next 15 years traveling around the world and getting into the world of tourism and medicine, and then medicine tourism, and then came to Costa Rica and built Soltara. And about a year into that, I think, we were in need of a chef. And my friend Jesse, who's actually the producer of this podcast, who you were communicating with as well, we needed a chef, and he was living in Canada, working as a chef on the bit of a weekend warrior to keep himself engaged. He's a designer and also worked as a chef in a restaurant there. And he had come down to Peru to my other center to check it out. So he was kind of familiar with the work, and he knew Melissa, and so he came down for a month to work here. He loved it, so he ended up staying. He left Canada and came down here to start working, and then we're like, you know, I got a guitar again and started playing again, and then he got some drums and we started playing again, and the next thing you know, we're like bringing back all of our old songs, writing some new songs, and oddly enough, I had made friends with Logan Mader of Machine Head, which is one of the bands that we used to play cover songs of back in high school. So like, you know, and now Logan's a producer. So we got this crazy idea to do a demo here in Costa Rica, and that was just, you know, not even a year ago. And we did a demo. It came out really well. Logan came down to Costa Rica. We recorded a demo here. And then it came out really well. We got a full album's worth of music done. Then we found got really lucky, found a really good singer and a couple other musicians here from Costa Rica to complete the 5-piece band. We added vocals, and we had our first album done. And wow. Logan got us connected to a music distributor, so we got signed there. And you know, we still had a bunch of creativity in the pocket. So, you know, we went and we played a tour in Mexico, and right after that, we went up to Las Vegas and recorded our second album. So now we got 2 albums. One's unreleased, but the first one, we're re-releasing it. We just got signed by a big management company in New York. So they're kind of in PR firm, the same PR guy for Judas Priest, and you know, some decent caliber people. So we're re-releasing the first album. Then we're going to release the second album later this year. And then we need to record a third album, right? And we're already like, we got lots of creativity spewing out of us. So we're already, you know, starting to write more music for the third album. And we've already kind of talked about it. And when I was there at your place, you know, I saw that Sacred Sound studio, and I'm like, damn, that would be a really cool place to record. You know, the first 2 times we just went to kind of a typical studio. You know, you go there in the morning and you spend 8 or 10 or 12 hours there, and then you leave at night. And we kind of went in with all the music already written. And so it was just like, you know, boom, 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 tracking out all the music. And but with this, like, Sacred Sound Studios that you guys have, I've got this idea of like, this would be an amazing place to actually go and immerse yourself in the jungle and actually live in the environment and kind of let the jungle inspire you to create music, create the vibes, create the beats. And so when I actually saw your Sacred Sound Studios, it was I think very early in the construction phase. It was kind of like you had the barrier and you had the frame of a big geodesic dome. but I've since seen the architectural renderings of what you guys are doing, and it looks amazing. It looks like you're going to be building a real state-of-the-art facility with, like, I think 8 different rooms, tracking rooms, live auditorium, isolation booths, all that kind of stuff. And it looks really awesome. So why don't you get into that project and let us know what's going on with that, man?
Cool. Thank you. First of all, congratulations on your albums and this great story, like how to come full circle again. And, it's so beautiful now that we are mature and have the power and the creativity. We can really make it happen. So
and the resources.
Yeah. Well, first we have to work for that, ain't we?
Well, recording's not free, it's not.
Well, it takes maturity from all the sides. I'm sure if you would record it many years ago, it would be less good than now.
Oh yeah,
the maturity now helps. And with the studio, it's the same story. Actually, the first call, the first vision to do a studio arrived some 22 years ago, just 1 year into my medicine work. The shaman, the musician that we were studying by, he made me to be his soundman very early. I had no idea about it, but he made me to be a soundman. I was studying really the wave of the sound together with the waves of the medicine, and was really very precious studies. But very early in that time, in one crazy ceremony, I received the first seeds of this vision that the medicine told me, you're going to make a studio, you're going to build these crazy spheres with speakers that people will sit inside, you're going to make pools with sound, like a whole story. And I had no idea. It was really telling a child is going to fly in F-16. I had no idea of any of that. So I just let it be, but it grew and grew and grew and grew. And I became much more into sound and went to study it in a university and came back and studied with those ceremonies, with medicine, studying, seeing what's happening to people with sound. And later when we started our own ceremonies, was always a big thing inside the ceremony, the activation of sound and the way sound activates healing, activates consciousness, the way that we resonate with sound in higher levels of consciousness. And this has been a study since then. And that vision was always there. Since almost, over 10 years, I have a little studio wherever I go. And we're making music, recording music, sharing music. We have a huge SoundCloud platform account with, I think, over 3 million plays already.
Oh, wow.
2,000 plays every day. So people really love this music. Sometimes it's so simple, just guitar and vocals, sometimes a full production, but really people love this music and they hear it. So always from the start, we have, like, I think 8 years, this SoundCloud, always giving for free the music and just sharing this vibration. And the studio, kind of grew with the vision grew inside me with everything that grew all around. And when it was time to make it happen, I started to look for architects, and I found this crazy architect that is one of the top in his game, but in the same time, he's really a child and he's in love with domes and sacred geometry. So we found a lot of common ground. And when he came here, that's when we really started to imagine the stuff, and we chose this gigantic 23 diameter dome that is the recording studio, another 12-meter dome that will be all to do with sound in water, and the last dome that will be our sphere project, dedicated to the spheres project. So it's it's a project that I would never even dream of alone. So really feel mostly guided and almost walking for this higher consciousness that really wants to make this happen. And if it's a lot about creating and experiencing, putting it together, not separating it so much. You go to a studio, just create your music, you're so not a part of it. It's like somebody takes a photo of you and goes to the lab to develop it. You know, there's all this mix and mastering and technicality. It makes it a little bit far away. So we really want to bridge that gap. And while you will be recording your album, your producer can be in a sphere listening to that and getting even more ideas and
Wow.
innovation, and really kind of experience the music in different surrounding, in different ways, and bring it closer to for the listener and the creator.
That's yeah, that's very unique. And you know, music, the creation of music, and you know, I'm no expert. I've now done 2 albums. It's a really exciting process, and even just to make that process more immersive in itself and more experiential, you know, that's going to create a better product as well. But if the musicians and if the producer, you know, it's to really become part of the music that you're creating is going to create a better product, and then that of course can get transmitted to the listener.
Yeah, and we chose the best energetic surrounding from all our studies. So there will be huge crystals in the room, all the studio, because we chose a dome and then we organized the room in a symmetrical way. So all the rooms are really super aligned, from crystals that we bury in the ground to the top with the frame structure. So yeah, to bring that possibility also to the artist, to be in a room like this really takes the best out of you. It really like makes you be at your best.
Yeah,
and of course to have ceremonies in that huge room is a personal dream.
So the plan is to have ceremonies and create and have a recording studio, so you can do ceremonies, you can have this big auditorium, and you can record music right from ceremony.
Yeah. The big hall is, I think, somewhere over 900 square feet. And yeah, it will be big enough and equipped in the right way so ceremonies can be held, you know, even if we don't record, just to have a ceremony and to play in a space like this that was meant for one thing, for good sound. So it will be another experience. And we're going as far as we can with the innovation, with the technology that is around. We'll have a 12 speakers system in that room. So to hear meditation or guided sound will be incredible. And the crystal, all, you know, bringing millions of years, ancient stones crystallized in the right way that also actually is really corresponding with music and octaves and sound. Everything to bring that together, all that spirituality to bring to the practice and mix it with all those high-tech electronics and stuff.
Yeah. So what kind of equipment in terms of the technology are you aware of what you're gonna be installing, the soundboard, and you know, some people are really into that stuff.
Yeah, we are really in a way we are really electronic, but in another way we are really old-fashioned. So we working with the analog consoles of the past, API to be exact. Actually, I'll try to move my thing so you can see. We have our small one right here. This will move to the big studio. That's a API, 24 channels, and for the big studio we'll have the much bigger brother of that. And I'm a great believer in analog. With everything happened digital, I'm still a great believer in analog, and everything that can be analog, we do it analog. In the same time, there's so much beautiful ways to manipulate audio and to work with ways that actually are more expressional. So I have a guitar that can play piano sounds. I have a microphone that can play any sounds, violins or cello. We are now receiving our first MIDI glove, which is basically a glove that we can control different parameters just with our hand. And we're using it to mix sound in a 3D environment. We just move the sound like that. And do stuff like this. So
Wow.
this is where we go really all in the technology, mostly to open new eras and new possibilities for us to use. And of course, it's a huge research. For example, the dome, the water dome will have like few pools with speakers inside. So we're studying how the sound moves in the water, how the programs should be, how the placement of the speakers should be. It's all a huge kind of study as we go along.
Man, I don't think there's any other place on earth like this. Like you're definitely creating something that's it's going to be one of a kind. Like it's going to be absolutely awesome. You know, and I can from my limited experience, you know, I can say that the vibe of a studio is it's so important. Like it, you know, and having something that's really, you know, cool from a decor perspective is good, but you're going like all the way down to the building blocks of the actual space, right? Going as far as the earth by putting crystals in the earth and stuff like that. I mean, so I'm really looking forward to. Do you know when it's going to be ready?
Well, that depends. We are starting our crowdfunding in a couple of weeks, really. Just 2 weeks, we're starting it. And we are really deep at work. We have a 12 people crew on the studio day in, day out. And we are ready to pour the floor. And then the specialist from the States is going to come to build the frame, the first frame. But if everything flows good, and we hope and pray so, by the end of the year, we'll have the first rooms ready to make sound.
Okay.
And we'll have all the rooms placed in, but the big hall and the control room will be ready to make some sound.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk about the crowdfunding and all that. We can finish up on that. What type of crowdfunding campaign are you running? Is it like a straight kind of donation, or is there I know there's some platforms that kind of, you know, offer different packages or whatever?
Yeah, well, first of all, we choose to do it on our own platform. This crowdfunding will be on our own site, just to really release limitation and let us also share more media and make it more immersive experience, because all the platforms that we know didn't really offer that. So we choose to do it on our own. It will be the third crowdfunding that we do. The other two were beautiful and successful for other causes in the community. And from what we saw about that, we received beautiful funding that helped us to accomplish, but we also received beautiful connections. And we got to know so many incredible people that later came here and just, you know, immersed themselves. We made sound together, we made music together. So connections and communication is a big part of it. It's not only the funding. And in the same time, we really want to expose the project. So we will be giving packages of recording in a very reduced price. The opening festival, we have quite a bunch of them. Some membership in our music platform, and special kind of medicine sound healing retreat, which will start to be the flagship of our retreats here. The people come and really immerse in that sound healing experience with meditation, with private sessions in the studio, in the water, everywhere. So this is one of the biggest perks. And it's, you know, from small to big, however people want to support. And we thought about how to start it in a cool way. So we are doing actually a lunch, a broadcast lunch that will be 6-7 hours. And we invited many of our friends around the world, musicians, to send us pieces of music. So we received quite a bunch of pieces of music that we will broadcast on this time. And we will have guest musicians here. So it will be kind of 6 hours of music celebration. We call it the Sacred Sound Funding Celebration. And it's you know, as you mentioned before, this stuff is not easy and not cheap.
Yeah.
And here it becomes less easy and more expensive yet. So honestly, I'm kind of happy that I didn't know what will be the budget for this place, because otherwise I would never start.
Huh.
But we
I've
we
been there
started.
before. I know exactly what
we,
you mean. You know, selective ignorance.
yeah, exactly. It's good. It's good for you.
Yeah.
But now we are halfway, and we really feel the support of the spirit. We really feel so much support from around the world. I get messages from all over the world, and it looks like so many people dreamt about this, wanted this to happen. So many people are so excited about this, like it's their own, and I love it. It's really brings me this affirmation, because I'm not a gigantic businessman. Okay, I take this $millions and I do that. I'm really started from from scratch, and if we wouldn't get this support, nothing of this would have happened. So I really honestly feel is the project of the people already.
Yeah.
So much support and motivation, and it will be beautiful. And it is a platform, because will be so many musicians coming to record here. And from the beginning, we didn't take any investors. We didn't take any loans. We own no one. The studio is ours. We don't, it really belongs to Spirit. I mean, this is what's really beautiful in our possibility, because we'll be able to, hey guy, wow, you sing beautiful. Wow, let's record your song. Take the key. Let's go. We don't need this huge music industry control.
Yeah.
That is dedicated so much by money.
Well, that just wouldn't be congruent with your place there at all. I mean, and who you guys are.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So we'll be looking forward for the third album.
Me too. Yeah, I would imagine it comes sooner than later, because, like, we're just getting started, and it's like we have so much juice, like we could easily, we could easily go in and write a third album in probably 6 months.
Wow.
But, there's no point in just having all this, music that's not released. We need to work on getting, the 2 albums we have out, and then we need to go out and play shows around the world. We're just about to announce it publicly, but in April, we're touring with Sepultura, which is a Brazilian band. I don't know if you ever heard of Sepultura. They were the first heavy metal band I ever listened to back in like 95 or something, 96. Got me into metal. And because of them, I got interest in Brazil, because they have, they used to sing about, indigenous people, and like strip lining the Amazon, and, biotech corporations, like pillaging down in Peru and in Brazil in the jungle and all that kind of stuff. So, I was in high school kind of hearing this, and I was always spent a lot of time in the forest, and I was always really connected to nature and everything. So, so that got me into metal, and also got me into Brazil, because in some songs, they would like sing and like throw in like curse words in Portuguese and stuff like that. And they would have, tribal artwork and all this kind of stuff. And it was like this whole Brazilian vibe that came with the music. Anyways, yeah, we're playing with them in Mexico in April.
Wow.
So that's pretty huge. It's like a household name of heavy metal. And so we're going to be touring with them in April. And so, we need to do a lot more of that. We need to get our first 2 albums out. We need to go out with these 2 albums. We have a full headliner set, right? So we can go out and play 90-minute sets, no problem. But we need to get there first. And then, through all that experience of going around the world and touring and playing in different cities and getting better with our instruments and getting better vibe with the band and getting more seasoned as a band, then we'll be really ready to go into the studio and really unload on a third album, and make that like just one level up from our second album. So it's gonna be really awesome, but in due time, right? Maybe in 18 months or something, you'll have the place completely spot on.
In 18 months, I really hope it will be completely done, even more than the studio dome. hopefully the other domes will already be in a kind of advanced process, all done, if we manage.
Good. So how do people contribute? I mean, you're doing the media for crowdfunding and all that kind of stuff. But where do people go to, to actually learn more about it, the details, and to contribute?
Well, our site is sacredsoundstudios.org, and that's where the crowdfunding is going to be launched. Is going to be launched on the 20th of February.
Okay.
That is just 16 days from today, 20th of February, and we'll have the broadcast also on that site, and in that moment we'll do the 10, 9, 8, and publish the crowdfunding, and then we will run it for approximately 2 months.
Okay.
But yes, sacredsoundstudios.org. Welcome already to look at it. We already have a lot of information and some movies from the construction, kind of our little vlog from the construction, and talking about it, and those beautiful renderings that you saw there to give an impression of how it's going to look like.
Yeah. Right on. And then for your other business, the Florestral, if people want to come and do like retreats or come and check out possible, residency options or anything like that, they can hit you up at.
Yeah, we have 2 sites. One is that florestral.org, Florestral. That's how you pronounce it, so it's understandable.org. And the other one with the music, and it's also a kind of a portal to all our music, is solcircle.org. That's SOL circle.org. And there we have more about the medicine work and the sound healing work, all about that.
All right, brother. Well, great talking to you. Great seeing you. Great learning a little bit more about your whole organization. And, obviously, best of luck. I'm very excited for you. And if there's anything else we can do to help, let me know. I'm certainly more than excited to go and take your new studio for a test run. So, yeah, man. Best of wishes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan. Really enjoyed this. Great talking to you. And yeah, wish you also best of luck with the music, with all your work, with the center. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ciao. A te logo.
Thank you. Hasta luego. Thank you. Blessing.
The Daniel Cleland Podcast.
Thank you so much, my friends, for checking out the Daniel Cleland Podcast. We love you and appreciate you. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, share it up with your friends and loved ones who might benefit from these episodes. And if you'd like to check out more episodes, we've got some links conveniently placed over there. So check it out, share it up. And until next time, be well. Much love to you. Thank you so much.